Good, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Coppin State University Department of Social Work Dorothy I. Hyatt Center of Advancement of Social Justice. This is the HBC Leadership Social Justice Conference, and we want to welcome you this morning. As we start our conference, we want to bring up Ms. Remika Wright, and she will be introducing our first speaker of today.
Good morning, all. I'm Remika. I am the president of the ABSW Student Chapter here in Coppin. And this morning I'll be doing the morning libations with Dr. Townsend, who is the president of the Baltimore Legacy ABSW.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everybody? Good. All right, so in recognition of the spirit of the ancestors, African traditions calls for us to pour libation before we begin a process, an event, or a ceremony. Libation is a sacred communal ritual that honors ancestors who have a foot in both worlds. We ask that they join us from the north, from the south, from the east, and from the west, as we wet the soil that produces life with the substance that sustains life, which is water. Pouring water into the soil during a libation ritual is deeply symbolic and holds cultural, spiritual, and ancestral significance. Water is offered as a way of showing respect to ancestors and spirits, inviting them to partake in the ritual and bless those present. The pouring of water into the soul represents a link between the physical and the spiritual worlds. Water is a purifier that is used to cleanse spaces, ensuring that prayers and intentions are received in a pure and sacred manner. And water is essential for all living things. By pouring it into the soil, it symbolizes the continuity of life, fertility, and sacred manner. Fertility and growth, my apologies. Ensuring blessings of prosperity, good health, and harmony amongst our people. Libation binds us to everything that now lives, has ever lived, and will live in an act of remembrance. So before we actually begin the ritual, I will ask for permission from the elders to move forward. So whoever is an elder in the room, if they could provide me with permission to move forward. Somebody's older than me.
Don't be shy.
All right, I've been granted permission from the elders. Today we give honor to all ancestors, all of those whose bravery, perseverance, and good deeds serve to uplift, strengthen us as Black people. We will begin with a call and response. So what I would like for you to do is I'm going to do the call. I'm going to ask that you provide the response by saying, "We may forever remember." It's just 4 words, okay? So, we may forever remember. Can I get y'all to say that? We may forever remember. Okay, let's start. We, the descendants of Mother Africa, have traveled from far away places to offer our respect and to focus our memories of our African ancestors who were once held in bondage on those African shores and forced to struggle through the Middle Passage into the unknown, unkind, perilous territory of Western worlds. And the people say, "We may forever remember." May we forever remember. It's okay, we got it. Go ahead.
And respect our African ancestors.
In the spirit of Sankofa, we seek true knowledge of our ancestors' past history of being held captive and enslaved, vowing to never allow our people to be captured and enslaved again. And the people say,
the past, vowing we will never again be held captive and enslaved.
As the mighty oceans roar, reverberates messages of their ancient anguished moans, we remember our ancestors' struggles, and the people say,
may we forever remember the struggles of our African ancestors.
The memory of afflicted women, men, and children brutally tortured, leaving a lingering stench of spoiled lives that permeates the air. We must remember, and the people say,
the afflicted lives of our African ancestors.
Memories of wailing cries of fear, terror of the unknown penetrate our consciousness as we remember the sacrifices of our African ancestors, and the people say,
our African ancestors' cries of fear, terror, and the unknown.
Wolof, Mandingo, Akon, Iwe, Yoruba, Hasafalani, Igbo, and so many other traditions all bound together, yet separate, to be stripped of their identity, their culture, religion, and birthrights, and made to serve strangers. We must recall how our African ancestors were robbed. And the people say,
the theft of our African ancestors' birthrights.
here we stand upon this hallowed ground in this Sankofa circle of unity and in the shadow of our ancestors' spirits to seek our spiritual connection with our history, of whom we are, as African descendants, vowing to always remember. And the people say,
our African connectedness.
Ashe,
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 Ashe.
Ashe.
We are grateful for the ancestors we have in our midst. At this time, we call the names of our ancestors who have transitioned before us, those who are worldly known and those who are personal family members and friends that have moved on. As we do this, we pour water into the soil, which represents the soil of Mother Africa and represents our ancestors, the ones who came before us, the ones who gave their lives so that we may live as we do today. Please call out the names of your ancestors. Ida B. Wells, Harriet Tubman. You may call out names as well. W.E.B. Du Bois, Dr. Martin Luther King. You can call them out, call them out. Medgar Evers, my grandmother, Neitha Pinson, my mother, Mary Pinson. Call out the names of your ancestors. Ashe. Ophelia Egypt. Ashe. Gladys Dunstan. Ashe. Leonard G. Dunstan. Sino Jomo Williams. Ashe. And far too many others to call by name. Ashe. With lights illuminated to pierce the darkness of our memories, we will forever be enlightened to respectfully honor and remember our African ancestors and to give thanks for the divine mercies that secure our survival. Raise your hands high and loudly declare Sankofa, which means to go back and fetch. We say this 7 times, as it is the number of completion and the number of unity. So together we say, Sankofa, 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 Sankofa. Asante Sana. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. LaTanya Townsend. At this time, I want to invite those who are visiting us online that you can also participate in our programs by going to Coppin State University YouTube channel, and you can select your option for programming. At this time, I'm going to call up Dr. Errol Bloden, and he will be giving us a historical reflection on Dorothy I. Height.
Thank you. Understanding the assignment, this elder, it's the first time I've been called an elder, but I'll receive it. This elder will read the foreword, which will provide some historical context. This foreword is about celebrating a civil rights icon. I had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Dorothy Irene Height during the final years of her distinguished life. When I arrived at Coppin State University, an institution with a history spanning more than a century, in fact, this year 125 years, I was delighted to learn that one of my predecessors had awarded Dr. Haidt an honorary degree. This was the first of over 24 honorary degrees she received from renowned universities during her lifetime of service. When I told Dr. Haidt of our plans to raise funds for an endowed chair and lectureship in social work and social justice, and for the Dr. Dorothy I. Haidt Center for the Advancement of Social Justice, she wept tears of joy. I soon learned firsthand what so many of us knew of the history of our struggle as a people and a nation. Dr. Dorothy I. Haidt was a woman of great vision, integrity, and fortitude. Coppin State University is honored to be playing an instrumental role in extending Dr. Haidt's influence to generations of Americans. The Dr. Dorothy I. Haidt Endowed Chair and Lectureship in Social Work and Social Justice will help to address some of the most pressing economic and human development issues we face, both in Baltimore and indeed nationwide. The Dr. Dorothy I. Haidt Center for the Advancement of Social Justice will enable Coppin to undertake research, programming, and direct support and activities to serve our community and address a range of issues from educational inequities, healthcare disparities, accessibility, and support for individuals with disabilities, and much more. These are the causes Dr. Haidt championed so eloquently, day in and day out, for nearly a century. We are pleased to endorse a commemorative photo album of the guest and dignitary who attended the April 25th, 2010 program entitled Hats On for Dr. Dorothy I. Haidt, which celebrated the life of this incomparable woman. Dr. Thelma Daly's heartfelt introduction of this collection of honors celebrates the legacy of Dr. Haidt. Her dear friend, Dr. Daly, is helping Coppin to advance efforts to address the issues for which Dr. Haidt struggled for so long. Dr. Haidt's work and example imbue many of the programs we are pioneering. She informs our efforts to produce outstanding nurses, to provide rehabilitation counseling to needy citizens, to build a new generation of teachers in STEM fields, and to support other disciplines that address the most pressing issues facing our city, state, and nation. Dr. Haidt's work also extends to the international realm, and Coppin has embarked on a series of activities involving exchange programs in Egypt, global learning programs in schools in Barbados, Kenya, South Africa, and China, initiatives with the Republic of Korea, and a host of other international initiatives. Dr. Haidt once said, "Without community service, we would not have a strong quality of life. It is important to the persons who serve as well as the recipient. It is the way in which we ourselves grow and develop." Dr. Haidt's vision for Coppin is also Coppin's vision. Please join me in celebrating this outstanding life and together in carrying forth her work. I cannot claim to be the author of these words. These words were penned by the 5th president of Coppin State University, Dr. Reginald S. Avery, and we'll hear more about him a little later on. But because of the efforts that I just read about, I have something special to read to you at this time. It is a mayoral salute. On behalf of the people of Baltimore, I am pleased to salute Dorothy I Center for the Advancement of Social Justice. In recognition of your HBCU Social Justice Conference at Coppin State University, this year's theme, Reignite, Liberate, Organize, will foster discussions and the sharing of innovative strategies amongst students, scholars, activists, and community leaders committed to social justice and social change. As a result of your dedicated hard work, dynamic programming, trauma-informed and social justice-related education, advocacy, research, and referrals, countless Baltimore residents have been positively impacted. On behalf of the people of Baltimore, I commend you for your efforts to raise awareness while creating a brighter and more inclusive future for all, and offer best wishes on a memorable event. On this day, March the 10th, 2025, Brandon M. Scott, Mayor. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Aurora Bolden. We're so honored to honor such a horrific woman. She did so much for our community and our organization, and we want to definitely keep her name alive. At this time, I will be reading our celebratory for 125 years at the Coppin State University. It is an honor to stand before you today as we celebrate 125 years of Coppin State University, a legacy of excellence, empowerment, and service. For more than a century, Coppin has been a pillar of an opportunity dedicated to educating, uplifting students, particularly those from historically marginalized communities. This institution has sharpened generations of leaders, educators, social workers, activists, and change makers who have gone on to transform their lives and communities. Coppin's story is one of resilience and progress. Founded in 1900 as a training school for Black teachers, it has grown into a university that remains deeply committed to equity, justice, and leadership. Today, we not just the past, but also the present and future students who walk these halls today and those who will follow carry forth Coppin's mission. As a current student, celebrating this milestone feels personal. It reminds me that I'm a part of something much bigger than myself, a legacy of strength, determination, and excellence. To know that I stand on the shoulders of those who come before me, and that one day, future Coppin students will stand on mine. It's both humbling and inspiring. As we reflect on this milestone, let us recommit to the values that define this institution: excellence, service, and justice. Coppin is not just a university, it's a movement, a testament to power of education as a force for liberation. Thank you. At this time, we will have Dejan Williams, and she will come and give tribute to the Fannie Jackson Coppin acknowledgements. Oh, there he is. All right, come on up. Again, I want to pronounce his name right. Dejan Quartz Williams. Dewan, I apologize. Okay.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Dewan Oots Williams. I'm a freshman social work major, and I serve as Mr. Freshman here at the amazing Coppin State University. It is both an honor and a privilege to stand before you today as you reflect on the life and legacy of Fannie Jackson Coppin, the namesake of Coppin State University, our beloved university. As we gather here today for the Social Work Student Leadership and Justice Conference in the month of Social Work Awareness Month and Women's Empowerment Month, or Women's History Month, we are reminded that we are in the very presence of here as a testament of the foundation she laid for over a century ago, a foundation built on education, empowerment, and liberation. Fannie Jackson Coppin was a woman ahead of her time. Born into slavery in 1837, she refused to let the circumstances of her birth define her future. Through perseverance, brilliance, and unwavering faith, she became one of the first Black women in the United States to graduate from college. But for Fannie, education was not just a personal achievement. It was a tool for collective transformation. She dedicated her life to teaching, uplifting, and advocating for Black people, communities, believing that their education was the key to freedom. As the first Black woman to serve as a school principal, she revolutionized education, ensuring that Black students had access to not only academics, but also vocational training and leadership opportunities, preparing them to build a future rooted in self-determination. Her vision lives on in every student who walks through the doors of Coppin State University. It lives on in social workers, educators, activists, and leaders who dedicate their lives to service. It lives on in all of us who believe in the power of justice, equity, and opportunity. Today, as we celebrate 125 years of Coppin's legacy, let us carry Fannie Jackson Coppin's torch forward. Let us lead with the same passion, fight for justice with the same tenacity, and lift as we climb, ensuring that her dream of education and liberation remains alive for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Dewan. I really appreciate that this morning. Now may I have our social work chairhead, Dr. Buckley, come to the front for open reflections and our charge, please.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are so excited. We are excited for many reasons. Of course, you're here for this social justice conference. We have been counting down, looking forward to this day. We are excited about continuing a strong legacy. You heard from my colleague, Dr. Bolden, as he shared with you the background of how the Dorothy I Reignite Center for the Advancement of Social Justice came to be. That was 15 years ago under the direction of our fifth university president, who, by the way, was a social worker. So we are extremely proud of the fact that a social worker contributed to this institution in this type of a way. 10 years ago, this HBCU Student Leadership Conference started under the direction of our former chair, Dr. Kesselyn Braid-Stennis. And so we're really proud to continue the legacies of, is she here? Yes. Where's she at? I will tell you guys a story, but basically I've known Kesselyn since I became a social worker in undergrad. So it's very meaningful to have you here on today. There have been a lot of people that have contributed to this vision, to the Dorothy I Center, as well as to this social justice conference. And now that 100 people registered for this conference today, each of you have also contributed to this legacy. So I want to give you a round of applause. I want to take this opportunity to acknowledge my colleagues. You know, people oftentimes say that I like the people I work with, but they don't always mean it. I really like the people that I work with. The people that I work with are dynamic researchers, effective professors, and they are also, they're not just in the classroom and in the books, but they are also out in the community. And I think that this is important for us as social workers. You know, we don't have to just stay behind a desk. That's why we came into this work. We came into this work so that we can continue to do the work. So I really want to take this moment to shout out my colleagues in the Department of Social Work. I also want to lift up our scholars, and you're going to hear from them today. Keep in mind that this is a student-centered and a student-driven conference, and so after I'm finished, you're really going to hear, in the plenary setting, you are going to hear from our scholars. We all know what it was like to be a student. We voluntold them to do a lot of things. Look at them back there clapping. But we did it because we know what they're capable of, and we see the talent in them. And so we appreciate you in advance for empowering them, for acknowledging their efforts on today. It was mentioned that this is Social Work Month. It is, that's right, clap it up for Social Work Month. It is also, of course, Women's History Month. Yes, indeed. Now, Dr. Sanders, you're not going to clap for this one. I would be remiss as a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated if I did not acknowledge that this is also Sisterhood Month. And today, in particular, is National Day of Rest for Black Women. I might have gotten that order incorrect. I lift up these special days of remembrance because they're important. But they should not just be important in words. They should be important in deeds, in actions. They should be important and take resonance in our hearts. As Black women in particular, we are tired. And that doesn't take away from the fatigue that anybody else is experiencing, but I just want to say to the Black women, either here in person or online, that day of rest means whatever you need it to be. If that means that you need to take a nap, if that means that you need to go get your nails done, if that means you need to tell them kids, leave me alone right now, whatever it is that you stand in need of, then take your rest. I invite us to call on the spirit of our ancestors and allow them also to invoke this presence with us so that they too, their spirits, their legacies, can also take rest as we continue this work of social justice. And so as we move through today's conference, I encourage you to engage deeply. Ask bold questions. Even our students, ask them bold questions too. I ask you to connect with one another. Be a part of something that is bigger than yourselves, because we are indeed a movement. Thank you so much for being here on today. We are a little bit over time, so I'm just going to go ahead and welcome up our first plenary presenters of the day. And as they're coming up, can I ask Ms. Parker to come up here with me as well? Is she up here? She's downstairs? I can't hardly see. So these scholars are among the best of all of our students are the best of the best, but they absolutely represent the best of the best because they are our Caress peer educators. They're going to explain what Caress means in a moment as they are doing their presentation. Are you all ready? We're ready. I can tell you all are ready. All right, with no further ado, Caress. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As Dr. Buckley previously stated, we are the Coppin State University Caress Peer Education Team, and today we're going to discuss leadership. We want to explore how peer educators, student leaders, mentors, and social work professionals grow into advocates and change makers through effective mentorship and supervision. At Caress, we believe that leadership isn't just about holding power, it's about empowering others. Leadership development doesn't happen by accident. It requires intentional supervision, mentorship, and a framework that fosters growth, and that's what we're gonna discuss today. Hello, everyone. My name is Anaya Brewer, and I am a senior at Coppin State University, studying social work. I have a passion for social equity, policy reform, and nonprofit leadership.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dominique Fisher-Birch, and I am a junior here at the great Coppin State. I am also pursuing a bachelor degree in social work with a minor in psychology. I have about 5 years of experience working in the mental health field. My concentration is going to be clinical, and my focus will be foster care.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Josiah Flood. I am currently a junior here at Coppin State University, pursuing a bachelor's in social work. I plan to establish a nonprofit for single Black parents and their families. I'm committed to addressing trauma, empowering others, and creating opportunities for underserved communities.
Good morning. My name is Mackenzie Johnson. I'm a senior at Coppin State University pursuing a bachelor's degree in social work. I serve as the vice president of Coppin State Social Work Association, and I am a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. With a deep passion for advocating for incarcerated children and young adults, I plan to pursue a JD and MSW degree to specialize in forensics social work. I'm dedicated to educating and empowering justice-involved youth about their rights and ensuring they have the support and resources to navigate the legal system. Now that you've met our team, let's dive into the foundation of this presentation. We will explore how mentorship, leadership, and supervision shape student leaders in social work. This workshop highlights the roles of mentorship in developing emerging professionals and how effective supervision fosters growth. A key focus is leadership matriculation, helping student leaders build practical and ethical skills aligned with social work values. We will also examine best practices for supervision and strategies to create a motivated, collaborative team. Lastly, we will emphasize student leaders' roles in social justice advocacy, preparing them to become impactful professionals who drive change in their communities. Before we dive into today's discussion, I want to take a moment to outline our key objectives. This presentation will focus on the critical connections between leadership, mentorship, and supervision, especially in the context of social work education and practice. We will explore best practices from a student leader's perspective, examine the empowerment theory as a leadership framework, and discuss leadership through an ADEI lens. Additionally, we will analyze the impact of burnout and its effect on leadership efficiency. Let's get started. What is CARES? CARES stands for Coppin Advocates, Research, and Educates on Safe Sex. It's a grant-funded program by the Baltimore City Health Department. The purpose of this program is to increase awareness of unplanned pregnancy and sexually transmitted infections for individuals between the ages of 18 to 24. The program calls for peer educators to implement a theory-based curriculum to the Coppin community. As part of our efforts, we've hosted events like cuffing season workshops where we explored healthy versus toxic relationships and the warning signs to look out for. Additionally, our Do You See What I See? Loving Myself Valentine's Day event focused on self-love and its role in overall well-being. We aim to create meaningful spaces for open dialogue and provide opportunities for participants to explore relationships, self-love, and personal well-being in a supportive and judgment-free environment.
So now that you know who we are, the question is, how did we get here? So we started with a couple of interviews that asked us, why do we believe we were leaders, and what is our connection with safe sex, and how can we become advocates? After that, we participated in multiple trainings with our partners, Healthy Teens, and as you can see on the right-hand side, those are some of the plans and ideas that we came up with, including the Valentine's Day event, as well as a self-care event. And lastly, as a group, we assessed our strengths as peer educators and established our responsibilities to ensure that we could execute what we had planned to do. Now, we have multiple leadership roles within our organization. The first one are our primary investigators, and they lead the projects, and their ultimate responsibility is the execution, vision, and outcomes of the organization. Next, we have our program manager, who is typically an MSW student, and they manage our day-to-day and help prepare the team for facilitation of events, and they also serve as our mentors. And then lastly, you have us, the peer educators. And our responsibility is to facilitate the trainings and perform to the expectation of our roles. With this visual representation of our roles, we wanted to emphasize that leadership and mentorship is a through line. There is no hierarchy or ladder. And in this being such, it is easier to be a mentor because sometimes there is a goal, like the person who is starting out has the goal to be at the top. And that can sometimes seem unattainable when we do present as a hierarchy. So some of the positions that we have is the evaluation coordinator, and our responsibility as the evaluation coordinator was to get the feedback from the participants and apply it in the future events. We also had a catering manager, a social media manager, and then a logistics coordinator.
As the logistics coordinator, my role was to ensure that all aspects of our peer education events and initiatives run smoothly from start to finish. That included organizing event materials, securing venues, and coordinating schedules to make sure everything was in its place for a successful session. I also managed communication between team members, ensuring that everyone is on the same page and that we have the resources needed to engage participants effectively. During events, I handled setup, assisted the facilitators, and troubleshooted any last-minute challenges, whether it be a technical issue or a missing resource. Most importantly, my role helps create a structured and welcoming environment where participants feel comfortable engaging in open and meaningful discussions.
Ethical leadership is a framework used in social work. It is based on accountability, integrity, and fairness. Ethical leaders don't just supervise. They mentor, advocate, and create spaces for opportunities and growth. In social work, this aligns with our core values, such as service, dignity, and the importance of human relationships. But leadership isn't just about what you do. It's about how you do it. Are supervisors empowering their teams, or are they just directing? This leads us to our next question. What supervision styles build stronger leaders, directing or empowering? As you can see here in the presentation above, we have two different supervision styles. Directing. The supervisor makes decisions and the team follows. They focus on assistant performance rather than mentoring. Employees and peer educators have little to say in decision making, and supervisors give orders with minimal output from the team. Now, in contrast, we have the empowering model. Supervisors guide rather than dictate. They focus on growth, development, and skill building. Team members have the autonomy to make decisions, and the goal is to build confidence and problem-solving skills. I don't know about y'all, but the empowering model seems better, way better than the directed model. This creates mentorship dynamics rather than authoritative ones, and it allows the leaders to analyze challenges, propose solutions, and engage in decision making. This empowers individuals.
Next, we are going to discuss the best practices of supervision and mentorship from a BSW, MSW student leader perspective. So first, let's define supervision, and the NASW gives a great definition of what that is. Supervision is an activity in which the supervisor provides guidance and support to the worker to promote competent and ethical delivery of services. This relationship is built off of trust, confidentiality, support, and empathetic experiences. Now, I would like to open up the table, have a little discussion with y'all if y'all don't mind, and ask what are some frameworks or theories that you utilize in your supervision? Y'all can just call them out if you would like. One more time. So we have strengths-based perspective. Any other takers? Okay, great, we love that. We love strengths-based perspective. That is top tier right there. Great supervisor, right? So in our experience with Caress, as we previously mentioned, we had an MSW program manager. And she focused on supporting us. She understood what we needed as students, which goes back to the empathetic experiences. She knew when we were stressed throughout our semester because she was there. She knew when we were tired and when we didn't have a lot to give because she was there. She also established trust and autonomy with us. Social workers call for critical thinking at all time, and as such, it's very important to prevent scaffolding as a supervisor. It is understandable, especially when you have deadlines, people might not be doing what they're supposed to be doing, but the goal of supervision is to establish them as leaders themselves. And to me, it is valued that our program manager, her name was Charisma, was more like a silent partner or a collaborator rather than a supervisor. It opened up the ability for us to model her behavior and actually look at her as a mentor. She went to Morgan State University as her MSW, and she actually got her LMSW while she was in school. That was a behavior that we wanted to model, and we wouldn't have had that access if she didn't bridge that gap to us as MSW and BSW students.
Alrighty, let's now dive into peer educators' perspective on supervisory feedback. Ladies of the Caress team, how do you guys like to receive your feedback from your supervisors?
I like direct feedback on the things that I can improve upon, but I also like positive feedback about the things that I do well because I am an overthinker, and I make that known to my supervisors.
I personally like a balance. Sometimes I'm a blunt person, so I love blunt feedback. I feel like it builds character and it keeps you in check. But I also love softer feedback when I need it sometimes. So I'm a balanced type of person.
I like the raw, honest truth at all times, okay? I feel like that's the only way I'll know how serious it is. Like, if I'm not giving my full, I need to be told I'm not giving my full. You have more in your tank. Because sometimes I might reserve some from my tank for something else I have going on. So I always will appreciate being direct, and I feel like from a student leader perspective, it makes me respect the supervisor more because I know you care about what you're doing and you want the best for me and for the project that we're achieving.
And for me, I prefer a more balanced approach. Tell me what I am doing wrong, but also point out strengths too. I think that also helps to keep me motivated, and it would also show me that being under you is somewhere I could learn and grow from.
So within Caress, there are multiple opportunities for matriculation. At our level, we have peer educators who are typically your BSW, but then after that, you can become a program manager at the MSW, and then the highest of that is the program director or the PI. Establishing levels of growth will allow for the supervisee to be familiar with the requirements and responsibilities. It also allows for a bridge of commonality between the next cycle of supervisees. Once a supervisor leaves, another one's always going to come in their place. And once a supervisee leaves, another one's always going to come in their place. Creating an infrastructure in your supervision that allows for mentees or supervisees to mature into another leadership position exposes them to real work practice, ensures critical thinking, theory application, and my favorite, promotes autonomy.
Now, let's dive into ADEI. Can we all say it together? The A stands for? Anti-racism. Yay. The D stands for?
Diversity.
The E stands for?
Equity.
The I stands for?
Inclusion.
I love it. Okay. Okay. So, ADEI is all about making sure that everyone is treated with respect and fairness, no matter your backgrounds or identity. It's about actively working to break down barriers and create spaces where diversity is celebrated and everyone can thrive both personally and professionally. Anti-racism. Leaders and supervisors must actively challenge racism in workplace policies, trainings, and interactions. Leaders, you can no longer afford to just sit back and be neutral. It's not just about not being racist. It's about actively challenging and breaking down the systems and practices that support inequality. Well, what does that look like? That means looking at policies and making sure that practices are fair, and also making sure that you guys are holding people accountable when discrimination happens. Diversity. A leader should reflect diversity in background, thoughts, and experience. A diverse leadership team leads to better decisions, more creativity, and a deeper understanding of the challenges that different groups face. Supervisors need to create an environment where everyone feels comfortable sharing their thoughts and where all viewpoints are welcomed. Equity. Effective leadership means making sure everyone has fair access to resources, mentorship, and growth. Remember, not everyone starts from the same place. So, leaders, you guys need to recognize the barriers that people face and offer personalized support to help support everybody succeed. Leaders should address these systemic barriers and provide the tools that people need to thrive. As supervisors, you guys can use fair evaluations, flexible work options, and mentorship program to make sure that everyone has an equal chance at leadership roles. Inclusion. Leaders play a crucial role in making sure all voices are heard and respected. Inclusion isn't just about having diverse people, it's about creating a sense of belonging where everyone feels valued and essential to the team. Inclusive leadership means creating spaces where people can openly share their thoughts and grow professionally. Leaders should encourage different perspectives, foster conversations about acceptance, and address concerns and thoughts in a meaningful way.
Hello guys, so I want to start with a quick check-in. Raise your hand if you ever told someone to take a break or prioritize their own well-being. Okay. Now keep that same hand up if you apply those same values to yourself. You see, a lot of hands went down. A lot of hands went down. And that's the reality of leaders and supervisors. We teach self-care. We emphasize the importance of work balance. But when it comes to our own well-being, that's the first thing that is often sacrificed. And the truth is, if you're burnt out, you can't effectively support and lead. So there's a solution. And what is the solution? There is preventative measures that you can take that will help you balance your own work life. All right. Model what you teach. If you tell your team to set boundaries, show them how by setting your own. Take breaks without apologizing for them. Normalize saying, I need a moment, or I need help. Strong leadership includes self-awareness. Build support systems for yourself. Supervisors need mentors too. Who do you turn for advice? Is it a psychologist, a therapist, a mentor? Lean on leadership networks. Talking to other supervisors reduces isolation. Advocate for leadership support programs. Burnout isn't just an individual responsibility. It is a structural issue. Make well-being a leadership priority. Is leadership burnout recognized in your organizations? Delegate when it's possible. You don't have to carry everything on your own. Shift the culture. If supervisors embrace well-being, it sets the tone for everyone. So what did we learn today, guys? We learned that mentorship and leadership are essential for shaping strong, ethical social workers. Empowered supervision builds confidence, fosters collaboration, and strengthens peer leadership. ADEI and trauma-informed approaches creates a sustainable and inclusive leadership environment. So, I have a call to action. How will you apply these leadership strategies in your own work? Take the initiative to mentor, advocate, and lead with impact. Encourage collaboration, self-reflection, and empowerment in your peers and future social work professionals. We have a responsibility to push forward. Challenge the systems. Create environments where future leaders can thrive together. Every person in this room has a responsibility. Thank you. Any questions? Any questions? We'll take comments too. And comments? Good job. Thank you.
I was just going to ask her the same question. How do you apply what you asked us? How do you apply what you asked?
That's a great question. I actually do. I do go to therapy sometimes when I need it, and I do self-care for myself. I go on walks. I look at the nature. I love the nature. Just breathing the air is so relaxing. And I also just love doing things with my family. I have a dog, so I walk him a lot, and that's how I keep up with self-care. What are y'all practices?
I am the biggest advocate for therapy. Therapy works, it works, it works. But besides that, self-care, of course, I love music. So listening to music soothes me. That's how I practice self-care.
I too am an advocate for therapy. I believe that it's important to have somebody that you can talk to. Self-care is something that, since I've started my journey here at Coppin, all of our professors, everybody here, they advocate for self-care, self-care, self-care. I love music too, and honestly, I like disconnecting sometimes, turn my phone off, and just be by myself. Sometimes it's important. I'm not responding to emails. Oh, and I go to bed early. I get my sleep. I work out. That's something that I enjoy doing as well. Healthy ways to make sure I'm taking care of myself, because I can't show up for others if I can't show up for myself.
So y'all know the saying, like, I'm true to this, not new to this. Well, I'm the opposite. I'm new to this, not true to this. So I'm working on my self-care. I do take a nap every once in a while, but, you know, so we're working with it. Amen. Amen.
All right. Thank you.
Most crucial part of leadership. So for me, it's doing that, but then also making sure that I'm allowing them room to grow into the individuals that they want to be. We all have different passions. Just because they're under my supervision or leadership doesn't mean that's where they want to be. So giving them the opportunity to explore different avenues and being there as a support rather than as a ceiling, I think is the most important thing for me.
So, as you guys saw in the slide, practice what you preach. And that is my plan. So, balance. Once again, I will let you know what's right, and then let you know what's wrong. We can grow from this together.
I have found that my strengths lie in logistics type of work, admin type of work. So I think that when it comes to leadership, I know that I'm very strong, and I know that that can be overpowering as well sometimes. So I think that in my future roles, I see myself being at the head of some tables, but I also see myself working on teams as well, because if it's one thing that leadership has taught me, you cannot do it all by yourself. delegate. You cannot do it all on your own. It gets to be a lot. It does. And so realizing that at an early start has helped me become the leader that I want to be.
I would definitely say just looking into yourself. I feel like looking into yourself, your own biases, your own viewpoints is very effective. Because from my perspective, I feel as though like people aren't worried about you. You are the helper. Of course, they should be at some times, but you are someone that is providing services, supporting others. So really working on who you are as a person and learning yourself, understanding yourself so you don't say the wrong things or offend somebody and, have your own biases towards situations. And also, I just want to improve on my own growth, like really researching, evaluating a lot of things and just improving on me and my personal growth and my work growth. So, yeah.
Any more questions? We keep walking off. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Excellent job, ladies. I was so blessed to be students with them. They're younger than me, but listen, I can follow. You can learn from everybody. So at this time, we're going to get ready for our breakout sessions. So breakout sessions will be starting in a few minutes, actually. So I'm going to have Dr. Burley come up. Did you have a question? She had her hand up. Dr. Burley.
Can we just give our amazing students another hand? I heard some tips. The most important tip I heard was sleep. Somebody said something about sleep, which this is supposed to be the day of rest for women, but we'll do it tomorrow, right? But thank you. So good to see you all. But on the screen, and I know all of you here know the importance of evaluation, and so we would like for you all to take a moment to complete the evaluation for this first plenary session. So the QR code here is the conference website that you all use to register for the conference. And so there's the conference schedule on there, so you can see the amazing program that we have prepared for you. And then if you tap on the tab, if you haven't purchased your CEs, if you need CEs, please do so. We have a code in the back as well. We also take cash, yes. And the evaluations tab is there for you. But if you click on the tab and it'll take you there, or you can just slide over to the second page of the website and you'll see each of the tabs for the sessions. So I think that's it. And you all have, it's 10:10, so you have until 10:30, until the next session. It says what? It's saying, see, I just died 3 times right then. Okay, but I can breathe again. All right. So thank you. Please do take a moment to open and do the evaluation. And you have a few moments to take a quick break to stretch your legs, but don't stretch them too far out the door. All right, so 10:30 we will resume. Can we just give our amazing MC a hand to Ms. Rosalind Posey? You're doing a great job. All right, thank you.